When customers are new to our era of Volvos, one of the frequent questions is, oh, what should I do first? And besides getting the car running as well, or often better than it came out of the factory, in other words, the suspension and the brakes, high up on the list is an intermittent wipe. Obviously, if you only ever take your treasured Amazon out in dry weather, this is useless. However, for many of us that particularly love going out in winter because the handling of this car is so brilliant, intermittent wipe is just a delight. We came back from Iceland last month, and that intermittent wipe must have got about 40 hours use in the week we were rallying. Now, this isn't to be confused with some of the rather awful installations you can get on the internet. This is a Bosch item. Genuine Bosch. There it is, quite a large unit, out of sight. And here are all the fitting instructions for the hundreds of cars that it was made for in period in the 70s, from Porsche 911 to a Wartburg. So you have lots of instructions there. However, I of course make it easy for you because I'm going to show you how to do it straight for the Amazon. And if you buy this from us, you get our handout that tells you exactly what to do for the P18, the Amazon and the Peewee. So what else did I say? Well, I've said this is a just gorgeous unit. Yes, it is. Absolutely reliable, unless you miswire it. It has one flaw. That is that Bosch have rather cheapened the knob. So this is just a plain plastic knob engaging on the D shaft here. Obviously, in the past, a knob would have had a little metal plate for the slot of the D shaft. Unfortunately, Bosch accountants have got to this, and it's now just a bit of plastic, and fairly soft plastic at that. Once this knob is on, it's very easy to rotate it past the D and round off the knob, and therefore it becomes fairly useless. However, we do have some solutions to that. I'm working on a 3D printed item that will be better than Bosch do. Okay, our first task then is to find a location for this, then it's to create the short loom, and then it's to finally wire it in and test it. So let's go to the first stage. So on most of the Amazons, you have space just to squeeze it in this little triangle here. Now we are a bit cramped out by Chris's overdrive switch here, but that will just squeeze in. So our first task was to drill an M10 hole through this panel, fairly forward, as close as you can get to the lip here, while still being able to fit in that nut on the top side. So we've got a location here. Let's now take out the wiper switch, or so that we can drop it down and get to the wiring. Unscrew the knob. There it goes. And we haven't really got a perfect tool for this, but this snap-on trim tool is pretty good to undo the lock nut. There it goes. And take off its scutcheon plate. And we carefully draw the wiper switch out. And down. There we go. That's the wiring we need to get at. Okay, we're going to go over to the clean bench now and create a loom for this. Just before you go there, scout around underneath for where you're going to take the earth. This needs an earth. On this car, probably is easy to take it to the clamp that holds the indicator relay. That has a screw that is used for an earth strap already, and we'll just take it to that screw as well. So I'm looking at about a wire length of about that long from my Bosch switch to the earth. Good, let's go to the clean bench. Okay, so here's what you get with the Bosch switch. One leaflet gives you details of the internals and the terminals of the intermittent Bosch switch. And their other very comprehensive leaflet gives you all the installation details in the different cars, from Alfa Romeo to Wartburg there, and indeed including, of course, Volvo 140s, 240s, P18, 544. Oddly enough, doesn't mention the Amazon. So probably in most cases, it's best just to get our little handout here, which gives us the details for the late 140, the PV544, and the Amazon. Now we're doing this on the Amazon, and it is a very simple installation. It's just 3 wires. So what I've done is created my little mini loom, a long wire for the earth, and 2 shorter ones since the 2 switches are adjacent to each other. And heat shrink. Now if you're ever wondering where to get all your electrical fittings from, I can strongly recommend the chaps at Vehicle Wiring Products. They've got a really good internet presence. If you just look up Vehicle Wiring Products or VWP, that's where we get all our heat shrink, all our terminals, all our wiring, and by the way, we always use thin insulate wiring, which is much slimmer for the same current capacity than traditional insulated wiring. Okay, let's just quickly pop in and terminate the Bosch end with 3 spades. There we go. And the Volvo wiper switch with 2 piggyback spades. But first of all, I'm going to put on the heat shrink that's going to cover them. There we go, and I'm just going to go and shrink all 5 heat shrinks onto those spades now. Jess, hush, hush. Okay, so that's my 5 terminals heat shrunk. We'll now put on a ring terminal for the earth, and these I tend to bend over the wire to give myself a better connector, and I'm going to use a M5 ring connector. There we go. So we now look at my fitting instructions, which say for my loom 85, terminal 85 goes direct to earth. Okay, so our negative strap goes to terminal 85, which is this wee terminal out by itself. So onto there. Then 88 goes to either red or green to piggyback. There's my red-green wire there. So that goes on to 88, which is the lower pair closest to the earth. So that goes in like so. And finally, the black goes to the piggyback on the Volvo switch to 88A, and 88A is this one on the bottom corner. There we go. We now have the Bosch switch rigged for use on the Volvo Amazon. Isn't that trivially simple? Beautiful, eh? Okay, let's go and install that in the car. Yep. Okay, so going back to my instructions here, it tells me that on the Volvo wiper switch, the red or the green is piggyback. So there's my red and my green on P. This is terminal P on the Volvo switch. So I can remove either one of those. And there's me red and green. Put the piggyback onto the terminal and reconnect the green again. And terminal A goes to the other piggyback. This is terminal A right in the middle here. On goes the piggyback. And back on with Volvo's original wire. Okay, now we'll go up and connect the earth. So pop out the screw that I'm going to use for my earth terminal. And there we go, nip up the earth terminal and pop the indicator relay back into its clamp there. There we go. So now we can test it. Okay, this is fairly standard Bosch. Anyone who's used to the Amazon heater fan pull switch knows that Bosch always ran off, then the first position is full on and the second position is half on. Exactly the same logic on their intermittent switch. Left extreme is off. If I then just move it to the first click, that's the fast. Do you like that? I do. And then if we move it all the way to the right, or clockwise, we're now in the slow position. I would sing to you, but you just have to stay patient because you wouldn't want me to sing. There you go. That's it. We move it back to anti-clockwise. And it'll be a bit quicker. There you go. And we move it fully anti-clockwise and it's off.
Well, don't you have to turn your wipers on to do that?
So no, the answer is emphatic no. Note that our wiper switch is currently off fully. If in fact you have the intermittent on, like so, and now you pull the switch on, the switch overrides it and becomes continuous. Comme ça. If I switch it off, it's back onto the intermittent. There you go, until I turn the intermittent off. Okay, I'm just going to put all this back together again now. Carry on watching if you want. we go. Then the flat of the D is on that side. So looking down my knob for where the flat is here, that should go on like so. And now we're just going to double check, first of all, the wipers work. Good, that does. Switch it off, slow, fast, jets, good, that all works. And of course, just check your lights because that wiring is all very close together underneath there. So make sure one of the wires hasn't popped off the lighting. Okay, that's it. That is, in all honesty, one of the nicest improvements you can make to this car. It just makes life so much more pleasant if you are out in those marginally inclement conditions. It really is different. And having had experience of some of the cheaper units on the market out there, which either didn't work or only worked for a short while, remember, this item that we sell is the Bosch item. None of this cheap rubbish that you can buy elsewhere. It's a proper Bosch unit. It works. Okay, well, I hope you enjoy that and I hope you go out and buy one. Thank you very much.